Hello, and welcome to Pi Chakra. This is my very first video for this channel. So maybe what I'll do is I'll give a couple of minutes of introduction of what this channel is going to be about, and why I started it. So number one, just for introduction, I'm a Vedic astrology enthusiast. I've been learning Vedic astrology for a number of years. Um, I do chart readings. I do a lot of analysis and research on my own for charts and data that's available on the internet through various databases. Um, what I found in my when I was learning astrology, one of the drawbacks I found was that um there is software, right? Most people use software. These days, no one really focuses too much on the computational aspect of astrology because charts and analysis are easily generated using software. But the limitation is that you can literally see or look at what the chart or the software gives you. But let's say you want to analyze 10 charts real quick, right? Do a bunch of analysis on certain theory that you have developed or learned or read about. It takes a while to do that research because you have to go one by one and so on and so forth. Now, as part of my regular day job, I have been like coding and all that for a number of years as well. So I started looking into Python as to whether Python can actually help me generate charts quicker, so I could do analysis. It turns out that Python does have a library or two, which lets you use the ephemeris to generate planetary positions real quick, which is great. What is not there is a solid Python library that can actually take all of that and generate charts and do analysis and so on and so forth. So I started writing some of my own to help me do that. And that library that I'm writing is called PyChakra, and hence the name of the channel called PyChakra. But anyway, since this is my first video, what I wanted to do today was just kind of give a brief intro of one example of the use of that library that I'm writing to look at lunations, basically full moons, new moons, eclipses, and so on and so forth. Just to give you a preview, if there is interest from people viewing this, which I understand may take a while because this is my first video. I don't know how the YouTube algorithm works, but any case, if there is interest from the astrology community, from you guys to learn more about this, then please leave a comment, subscribe, or comment on the video. And I would be happy to make more of such videos or even do some walkthrough sessions as to how you can start using this on your own down the line. I haven't published this library yet. Maybe somewhere down the line I would when I get to it. But at least I can give you guys some demos of how you can do simple stuff on your own, if possible. But anyway, please leave comments and all. But that said, let me quickly at least show you how and what I do and how I use it. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see, real quick. Um, okay. So what you see here is if you have a code in Python, this is just one of the IDs, VS Code that I use. Um, this is the library that exists, Swiss ephemeris. This is the ephemeris library in Python that you can, if you can really install and use it. Um, but this Spy Chakra is what I'm writing that kind of uses the Swiss ephemeris library to get the calculations for the planetary positions. And then I basically write everything on top of that. So one of the modules I've written, I'll show you today, is lunation, which basically calculates and shows you the next new moons, full moons, eclipses, and so on. So let's see. So I will load this. The first thing, for example, is um, astrology. The most important piece is your dates and your locations, right? Everything is based off of that. So let's say, first instance is I initialize uh, an object from the lunation class, and then this will show you that I am here in New York, So my date, this is when I'm recording this. This is my date and all in the UTC, and then it shows the local time and all of that. So verify this, make sure it's coming out correct. A built-in code that basically reads your IP address, and based on that, it gets your locations, your latitude, longitude, and all that good stuff. Then the very first thing, right? I mean, it's always good to know when is the next new moon, full moon, and where are they happening. So if I run this, the first part here, then you see the next new moon is on February 28th at 0:44 hours UTC. Since New York is 5 hours behind UTC, so for me, it's happening on the 27th of February at 17:44 hours. Moon is going to be in Aquarius and Sattapitra Nakshatra. Sun, of course, the same spot because it's a new moon. Rahu, as you all know, is in Pisces. Ketu is in Virgo. The next full moon is on March 14, 6:54 hours UTC, and so on. Moon is going to be in Leo, Uttarphaguni. Sun is going to be in Aquarius, Purva Bhadrapada. Now, this is actually the next lunar eclipse, which we'll get to later. But essentially, this shows you the lunations. Now, what I really like to look at frequently is the full listing of moons for the year. So I wrote a function which basically, let's say, it's a method in the class which you say print all moons. You want to see all the moons in the year. So this will just generate everything, right? So the next one is on February 28, um, 26. So this is happening when moon is in Aquarius. Then the next full moon is when moon is in Leo, sun is in Aquarius. So it just goes on like this. Throughout the year. It shows you which sign and degree the moon is for each lunation and which nakshatra it's in. So it gives you a lot of data. If you're a person who tracks the lunar cycles and who follow some rituals on around full moon, new moons, this is really helpful in kind of getting an idea ahead of time as to these lunations and how the moon is moving through the various nakshatras and which degree. If in your natal chart you have planets in these signs and these nakshatras and these degrees, then of course, right? I mean, that's what how you interpret astrology. Those are going to be important for you. Once you know this, as you must have learned from other astrologers, that new moons, in a way, are beginnings, full moons mark closures, and then a begin. So it's kind of like this helps you, but not every new moon and full moon is important or impactful for everybody, but some of these definitely will be based on your own natal chart positions. And so this helps you visualize and see which of these really look like are going to be important for you, right? Because, like, for example, I'm Pisces ascendant, so I always look for, and I have planets in Pisces. So it's an important part of my life. Whenever things happen in the sign of Pisces or in those nakshatras, I find those as good turning points for me. So this really helps from that aspect. And then it's quite flexible. Like let's say you want to look at 27 or even like 2030 houses. So this will generate the lunations for the year 2030. Right, so it's quite flexible if you want to move ahead in time, back in time, right? Like, let's say the lunations are happening this year. You want to see, okay, so where was really the moon last year? Um, and lunations wise, when did the Pisces moon happen? Or so you could look at this, right? All of that data is here, so it really helps in your research in that way. So then one of the things that I'll skip through some of this, we looked at it. Then comes to eclipses, right? So now I'm sure very soon enough, a lot of videos will start coming up on YouTube for people or astrologers analyzing eclipses. I really enjoy those videos, to be honest. Eclipses, not every eclipse is going to be important for everybody, but if you start looking at it historically, you would, I think, see very clearly certain big turning points in your life would coincide with some of these lunations, some of these eclipses, depending on your natal chart, of course, right? In your research, or if you're looking at somebody's chart, those are interesting things for me to look at that if someone had a big turning point in their life, in their careers, marriages, so on and so forth, did they coincide with an eclipse? Did they coincide with a big transit? Did they coincide with planets going over their natal planets and so on? Because then those cycles could repeat later on as well. So this, for example, like here, E1 is so I have a class called Eclipse, so I initialize an object, E1, and then I just say print eclipses, right? So print eclipses, what it does is it just prints um, the set of eclipses in this year. So 2025. The first one is going to be the lunar eclipse that we will, when we were looking at lunations, we went through this. 2025, March 14. It's happening when Moon is in Leo in Uttarafaguni, 29 degrees, 46 minutes. Rahu is in Pisces and Ketu is in Virgo. So this is a Ketu eclipse, but Ketu is actually not in Leo, and the moon is literally like at the cusp of Leo getting into Virgo, so they're very close. The solar eclipse, that's the big one. That's happening in Pisces when a lot of planets are in Pisces. So, of course, it's a new moon solar eclipse. So, sun and moon are there. Rahu is there in Pisces, and Saturn is there. I think on that day, Saturn is entering Pisces. Then Venus is there, and Mercury is there. So six planets coming together on this date in Pisces when there's a solar eclipse. So of course, it's a huge event. Then when we go into September, then we have the next lunar eclipse, Moon Aquarius, and then the solar eclipse, which is Moon Virgo. So then how does this become important? Like when you would listen to some of the astrology videos on how people analyze eclipses, you would want to look at what's your ascendant, what house this is happening in, do you have planets in these signs at these degrees? Do you have planets in shrines of these signs? In Vedic astrology, or at least parts of Vedic astrology, or paths of Vedic astrology, such as Bhrigu, Nandinari, etc. Like trines are considered very important, and it helps to look at whether you have planets in your natal chart in trines to these. So these are impactful. Now, when I started talking about cycles, right? I mean, eclipses repeat in cycles. And you may have heard that every 19 years, because that's what Rahu and Ketu take to kind of go around and come back to the same spot, right? 80, 90-year cycle. So eclipses also repeat on that same cycle. Now, I would like to show you, right? I wrote a method here where you can actually look at, so let's say the 2025 eclipses here, and I say gap of 19 years. You could choose any gap, right? I just want to see 19-year cycles. So if you look at it, um, I don't know if you can see my screen is kind of going to be small. Let me just make this smaller here so you can see the full screen. Yeah, if you look at it here, so 2025 is right in the middle. So what I do is I print 1 year prior and 1 year after as well. But if we see 2025, this solar eclipse, right, which is happening in Pisces at 14 degrees 40 minutes. If you go back 19 years, so 2006, March 29, almost the same day, Pisces, 14 degrees 35 minutes. That's where Moon was, where this eclipse happened. Rahu was at 10 degrees Pisces, and now Rahu is at 2 degrees Pisces. So it's kind of like you can see the pattern, right? It repeats with Moon. The eclipse degree is almost the same. Now, every eclipse doesn't repeat like that. They're close enough. But then you also see the next one, this one, the Virgo eclipse, solar eclipse, that's again happening on September 21. That happened back in 2006, September 22, at Virgo 5 degrees of 20 minutes. Rahu at Pisces 1, and now Rahu is actually Aquarius 23. So, these patterns, like, so if you look at it, and you will see the same patterns here as well, like this solar eclipse that happened on April 8 of last year in 2024 in Revati Nakshatra, Pisces 25 degrees 10 minutes. It repeated like 2005, back in 2005 on April 8, a similar eclipse, right? Exactly almost the same degree, Pisces 25 degrees, 12 minutes Revati happened. So for me, this is important. In terms of my life cycle, 2005, 2006 was a very important year, turning point year for me. Now, of course, I'm a Pisces ascendant, and I have three planets in Pisces. It becomes quite important for me, but in general, for you, if you want to look at eclipses this way, look at the cycles, right? What happened 19 years ago around these dates? Did something change for you? And so on and so forth. Now, this is quite flexible. So let's say that you wanted to see, okay, so what was the one before 2006? So you could run this, just change the year to 2006 and gap of 19, and then you'll see this is the eclipse to 2006, March 29. Now, again in 1987, oh, sorry, yeah. In 1987, March 29, a similar solar eclipse happened, Pisces 14 degrees 39 minutes. So it's surreal, right? I mean, how can things repeat at such exact degrees? But they do because this is our solar system. In 1987, this happened as well, and then it will happen again 19 years later. So it's kind of interesting to look at, like of how these things really repeat. Um, and then also like almost 19. And so if you have that, it's about um, every 9.5 years or so, things would be halfway through. So if you were to change this instead of 19, let's make this 9, then you would see this is the solar eclipse now, 329. And then if you go the solar eclipse prior would have been halfway through, right? So it's half a cycle. I like to look at the full cycle just to get it really gives you a good perspective on where exactly this eclipse was or what happened. So you can relate. Now, if you're doing research, right, if you look at a chart and if someone has a big turning point or a client or celebrity, whoever you're looking at, right, um, I find it very interesting to kind of find those turning points in their life, pull up that chart, look at whether it coincided with one of these things, right? Eclipses or transits of major planets, change of Rahu and Ketu, Rahu going over their ascendant or some of the big planets, and so on and so forth. Those are always interesting things to look at. And this helps me do that kind of analysis. Now, of course, I have a lot more here, so if you guys have interest, please comment. Like I wrote the whole library, so I could generate charts here using this, which I find it very like this is a chart of. I'll show you how it works, just so you get some perspective on it. So basically, this class is help me generate the full astrology charts. It's very simple to do. Once I've written these libraries, right, I pretty much like this is here where I set up there's a transit class, place Buenos Aires, Argentina, date of birth is this, and this is the time of birth. All you have to do is you have to basically define this, right, to generate a natal chart. Uh, and the code Python, it basically goes and calculates latitudes, longitudes, all of that good stuff that happens. This is a chart of Diego Maradona. So then it goes on and on. So I have to clean this up. It's not really for teaching at the moment. So to clean this up, but essentially the South Indian version it generates. Now Python, of course, doesn't have any capability to generate these charts, so I had to write native code to get this done. But it gives me so much flexibility because I can literally store all that birth data in a table and generate multiple charts in minutes and look at them and then do analysis on them because I could throw out all the data, all this data in tables. See, this is where sun was, the full degree, the zodiac sign, the name of the zodiac, degree, minutes, all of this data I can just extract and do all this analysis. See here, it's a nakshatra. So it gives me a lot of flexibility, and then I can plot these charts, and then like this is side by side. So essentially, this is the chart of Diego Maradona, and then this is the transit, like where transit is. If you look at the North Indian version, this is the North Indian version. He was a Scorpio ascendant, Venus, and red means that the planet was retrograde. So retrograde Mercury. He has Sun in his 12th house in Libra. Now, as you can see, I mean, of course, that's a debilitated sun in the 12th house. But anyway, so this is a lot, and then you can plot it side by side just to see. Okay, so this is a transit, like these are transit planets right now. Um, Rahu is in Pisces. Of course, Venus is exalted Pisces right now, and then Moon is in Scorpio, so on and so forth. So it really helps me. Like I do a bunch of data generation as well using the Wiki Astro Data Bank, and then I'm able to generate a lot of these charts and data, and then do analysis and see patterns. So it's really cool. Now, again, I'll repeat, if people have interest in learning this kind of stuff or learning how to use Python to do astrology, generate charts, please leave a comment. If there are any astrologers who are watching this and think that this could help in their research, they don't have the technical skills, I'm happy to collaborate. I don't have a lot of time in my hand, but if of course if there's somebody who's interested in doing some collaboration, then I'm happy to, of course, do that as well. So that's the intent of my channel and video. I'll wait for to get it some traction at least and some comments to see some people are interested, and then I'll make another one, uh, more basic, just to show how this can happen, how this can work, or I'll do a couple of chart analysis and show you guys how to look at these charts. I do a lot of this analysis, and this really helps me. I can literally plot. I can do like 40 charts at once, and then I can plot and see whether, like, let's say, like in case of Diego Maradona, right? I mean, he was a very successful at one point, then he had his dark phases in life with addiction and all that stuff, right? So as astrology, you're always curious, like what caused this, right? Was there anything in his chart that shows that he could get success? And then he could also get in trouble. Like he has Rahu in his 10th house, right? I mean, if you listen to enough astrology videos, you know what a 10th house Rahu is, right? But his fourth house is Ketu, right? Opposite and with Moon. So you're curious, right? Like, okay, Rahu can give him a lot of success, right? Rahu, but then what really takes, what causes addiction for him, right? Does he have that 8 and 12 influence, or significant influence causing it? This, right? I mean, stuff like that, like eighth house, as you see here, is has Mars as an eighth house, but the eighth house Lord is debilitated on in his ascendant. So stuff like that, right? I mean, you would want to worry like his what is it his seventh, or what is it in 12th house? So stuff like that, you can, but just an isolated chart analysis, you could go on theory or you could implement what other people teach you. But when you're doing your own analysis with, let's say, 30, 40 charts that you can generate real quick, and then you could write some code to see what those patterns could be, you really learn astrology in a different way and start making your own assessments and theories faster. So it helps. But anyway, if there are people out there who have this kind of interest and who are I'm happy to do lessons and do some simple training down the line. I'm planning to make this as a real library that I could then make open source and have people use it. I just don't have that much of time right now to make that. I've never done that before, but also if there are any Python programmers who would like to help, please leave a comment. That's all for now. I'll sign off. I hope people like this video, and there is interest from the community to learn this kind of stuff. So uh, that encourages me to do more. Please again, like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment so how you feel. I talk fast, so sorry for that. But otherwise, thanks for listening. Until next time, bye.